evening. Welcome to the El Paso Board of Trustees for the El Paso Community College for our meeting on May 25th. I want to welcome everyone to this meeting, and anyone at home that wants to view this meeting, you can link our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/user/goepcc. Mr. Roboto, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to take a minute of silence for all the people in Uvalde after their horrible accident. So 1 minute of silence, please. Thank you. Okay, can we call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mrs. Robles.
Here.
Mr. Uxer. Mr. Uxer. Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Nájera.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty.
Here. And we're going to go down to approval of the minutes, 1.4, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. 1.6.
Open forum, we have Mr. Griffith from the Northeast El Paso Rotary Club. He'd like to talk about the Flags for Heroes project on EPCC property.
Hi, good evening. My name is actually Keith Erickson with the Northeast El Paso Rotary Club. And I just want to take a few moments to thank you for allowing us to come visit with you and talk about the Flags for Heroes program. This is something that we actually stole from a club up in Warwick Valley, New York. I'm from that part of the country, so I got a chance to speak to the president in that club. And this is a fundraiser that we do, an annual fundraiser, and the proceeds from the flags goes to help organizations like El Pasoans Fighting Hunger, UTEP, EPCC. And so we look forward to doing this on a yearly basis, and we really thank you for allowing us to work with Ruben as well as Francisco. I just saw him around here. There you go. Thank you so much. So we're really, Ms. Felicia and I, we cannot thank you enough for talking with us and meeting with us, and we really enjoyed our time in getting this project off the ground. So thank you guys so very much from the bottom of my hearts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we need to put this on an agenda item? Or?
It is on the agenda.
It is
sir.
there.
Oh, it's on there for tonight, okay. All right. Do we have any presentations by individuals, groups, or organizations?
Yes, item 1.7.1, Dr. William Serrata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, it is always bittersweet to announce retirements from the institution, well-earned retirements, but I'm going to begin with Mr. Frank Lujan, a fire tech instructor. Mr. Frank Lujan was born and raised in El Paso. He graduated in the top 10% of Thomas Jefferson High School class of 1976, continued his education by attending UTEP and EPCC, where he received his Associate of Applied Science in Fire Technology in 1996. Began his career as a firefighter with the El Paso Fire Department in February of 1979. He was promoted to fire suppression technician and then to fire suppression technician 2. He was assigned to the operations division, training division, planning division, and fire marshal's office, where he performed plan reviews, codes and inspections, public education, and fire investigation. After a 24-year career, he retired from the fire department in September 2002. Began working for El Paso County Sheriff's Office, Region 8 Training Academy as a civilian instructor from September 2002 through September of 2005. He started his career with El Paso Community College in August 2000 as an adjunct faculty in the fire technology discipline. In September of 2005, he was selected for a tenure position within the fire technology discipline. He has participated in several committees during his time here, including faculty development, faculty credentialing, and the Valle Verde Institutional Effectiveness, where he was co-chairman and chairman. He has been an active member of the district-wide Institutional Effectiveness Tenure Committee, Faculty Senate, Safety, and coordinator of the discipline. We would like to thank El Paso Community College Board of Trustees and the leadership team for their dedication to student success and their continued support of the fire technology discipline. Mr. Lujan, thank you for 17 years of service to the district, and we wish you a happy retirement. Where are you? There you are. Come on.
Knock it up. Our next retiree is Mr. Charles Crawford. 20-some-odd years ago, Charles Crawford walked into A1711 at the Valle Verde campus and walked to the head of the class, looked out over the classroom and thought, "This is it, I'm home." That feeling has never left him. Through all the semesters and with all the students, he has always come to work with a smile and always left feeling energized by the interactions with his students and his colleagues. Now he will be taking a different path as he's looking forward to the coming chapters in his life. Charles Crawford states, "As you all move forward, please take care. You will be facing challenges like you've never seen. Our students come to us with totally different life experiences and expectations from what we have known. Our world is changing quickly in ways that are hard to keep track of, and you will need to adapt and be ready to provide ways of teaching that the students can respond to." Here at the end of his career at EPCC, he just wants to say thank you to everyone that has helped him along the way. He states, "It has been quite a fulfilling adventure. You all are family, and this is indeed our home." Congratulations on your retirement, Mr. Crawford. We wish you a happy and healthy retirement. He is obviously enjoying his retirement already. He was not able to join us. And finally, we have Mr. Rick Torres, who's our managing director for the Fiscal plant, who has served this institution for 31 years. Ricardo Richtos' first contact with El Paso Community College was as a student at EPCC's Logan Heights location from 1977 to 1979, where he earned his associate degree in liberal arts. After his graduation, Mr. Torres worked at his father's construction company, where he worked for the next 10 years. In 1992, he joined the college's Fiscal plant staff as a construction foreman. His office was located in an EPCC warehouse building at the Central Services Center on Frederick Road in the San Juan area of Central El Paso, where he worked under the direction of Facilities Director Leo Cardenas. During his time as a construction foreman, Mr. Torres was heavily involved in the expansion of the EPCC campuses. He was instrumental in the design and construction of the Northwest Campus in 1994, the Trans Mountain Campus Classroom Addition, and the Valle Verde Campus B building in 1997, the Mission del Paso Campus in 1998, the Mission del Paso Campus Law Enforcement Academy in 99, the Rio Grande Campus Health Science Building and Parking Garage, and the Mission del Paso Campus E building in 2003. Mr. Torres was promoted to construction engineer in 2005. In 2011, he was promoted to physical plant managing director. More recently, Mr. Torres has been heavily involved in the development of the EPCC master plan. He assisted in the selection of the architects, design development, and finally construction oversight of the 6 new buildings that were constructed at the EPCC campuses. During this period, he has also worked with the physical plant personnel to ensure that all facilities were kept in good operational condition and provide a comfortable and safe environment for faculty, staff, and students. Mr. Torres says it's been a pleasure and an honor to work at EPCC, and he wants to thank the college for 30 years of work. Mr. Torres can always be counted on to provide good humor to any situation. He will be missed by all here at EPCC. As for retirement, he plans to spend time traveling with his wife, Dora, spending more time with his grandchildren, his hobbies, his Harley motorcycle, and the resurrection of classic trucks. We thank Mr. Torres for all the support and hard work he has provided EPCC, and we wish him the best in this new chapter of his life. Mr. Torres, if you'll join me.
I just went over the ranks of fire. Oh, he was? Well, yeah, he was the El Paso Fire Department. Did you hear what they said? I know this one.
That you work together.
Yeah, we did. We got the fire department.
Congratulations, thank you so much for service.
Thank you for your work, sir. The buildings always look great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, thank you.
Okay. 1.7.2.
1.7.2, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association. I know Dr. Burnham is here with a couple remarks.
Hi, Albert Burnham, President of the Faculty Association. No tirades today against elected officials. Members of the board, Mr. President, Vice Presidents, Deans, distinguished guests, live and guests attending through the marvels of cyberspace. It has been a fairly productive year for Faculty Senate and Association. Several important initiatives were put forward and agreed to by administration, including upgrading the Master of Fine Arts on the pay scale, Emergency Adjunct Relief Fund, and the return of faculty sabbaticals. Other initiatives are still being worked out, and we'll see what happens in the future on those. Also, the Senate and Association approved the new bylaws, which had been in the works and fine-tuned since way before the pandemic. It was, however, slightly disheartening to learn that the VV COVID testing site had been canceled. I took advantage of it twice. I think maybe 2 others did. Once again, the EPCC faculty came through, adjusting to the realities that existed at the college as a result of COVID. Faculty maintained the reduced number of students in each classroom and used a combination of live, in-class, and online teaching techniques. Hopefully, classrooms will be back to a fairly normal state come fall semester 2022. Thank you. That's all I have for today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nope, no other one.
Student Government Association.
Ah, they're coming. Here they come.
Good afternoon, members of the board and Dr. Serrata, as well as invited guests. The Sga Banquet was a successful event. Held at the Doubletree Hotel on Wednesday, May the 4th, we had a great turnout from our clubs. We are very happy to have had the opportunity to recognize all of our clubs and organizations for their efforts during these trying times. SGA awarded 20 scholarships and recognized some of the recipients at the banquet. We were also able to recognize past SGA members for their efforts and service prior to COVID shutdowns and throughout. SGA would like to thank the board members in attendance for their support. It is always a pleasure to have you all there, and we hope that you continue to attend in the future. SGA continues to plan the building of a new union and will be putting together a survey to be sent out for approval in regard to the MDP student union. We will be asking for feedback from students who attend classes on that campus to gauge what student needs are. We hope to get a better understanding of how to fill those needs with the design of the union moving forward. SGA would like to thank you for all of your support throughout the year and for the opportunity to serve our students. It has been a great pleasure and an honor to speak on their behalf. As my service to SGA comes to an end, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to learn and grow in the position of president. It has been a great honor and something that I will take with me moving forward. It is my hope that students continue to join organizations such as the SGA because the service to our community is an invaluable resource. As we welcome the new SGA members this summer, SGA looks forward to another great year of service, and they will see you again in the fall semester. Thank you so much for your time.
Section 1.8, Communications. Item 1.8.1, Discussion and Review by the Board of Trustees of Data, Statistics, Policies, and General Information related to the College District.
There a motion?
I think Dr. Penley has a presentation.
So we're going to have a presentation.
Yes, sir.
There's no action needed.
Thank you. Members of the board, Dr. Serrata, tonight we're using this opportunity to talk specifically about student achievement goals and outcomes, which of course is at the heart of what we do at EPCC. And there are a lot of ways that we can look at student success and a lot of metrics that we monitor and talk about in detail in cabinet. I'm sure that each executive leadership team talks about various student achievement goals. But tonight, I wanted to draw your attention to those specific measures as well as the goals that we've set for the metrics that we report to SAC-COC. Many of these are associated with our KPIs, our key performance indicators. Those are available to anyone on the internal website. So if you have an EPCC login, you can track the KPIs, and many of our instructional leaders, many of our faculty, many others around the college do look at those. But these achievement goals and outcomes are on our front-facing website, and so they're open for viewing to the public. So because we report these to SAC-COC, I wanted to take a minute to make sure that everyone here tonight and everyone listening knows how to access them. They may not be intuitive to all folks. So within our main EPCC website, at the top of the screen, you'll see the 3 lines that talk about, or that give you the link to About, and that's where we find the board meeting information, we find other information about the college, and within that About page is a consumer information page, and that's the circle on the bottom on the left. When you click on the consumer information, you're taken to another page which includes information about our accreditation status, information about our institutional resume, and the student achievement outcomes. And again, this information is on the front-facing website. It's also linked to our institutional page on the SAC-COC website. So that's why we decided that this would be a great time to talk to the board about these specific achievement measures. So the first achievement measure that we're talking about tonight has to do with general student enrollment. And Dr. Smith did present some information about enrollment when he shared some of the KPIs with you a few months ago. This metric does include the goal that Cabinet set in the 2015-2016 academic year for a 2%, I'm sorry, a 3% increase in student enrollment each academic year starting in the 15-16 year. And what you see is the enrollment numbers for the past 6 years, both for overall enrollment in the third column and for the first time in college or FTIC enrollment. As you can see, we have not met the goal that we have set. Some of that may be due to the pandemic, which we've talked about ad nauseum for the last two plus years, but some of it is related to other factors that perhaps Cabinet and the institution as a whole might want to look at. Some of the things that we are doing to address the enrollment goal include the Operation College Bound that Dr. Amaya has brought back to life for in-person sessions, and calling campaigns, first-year experience, and activities like that. The second metric that we report to SAC-COC for student achievement and success has to do with persistence. And again, Dr. Smith talked about this a few months ago. Persistence is students who come in the fall and then they enroll the subsequent spring. This is different from retention, where it's students enroll in the fall and they enroll again 1 year later in the subsequent fall. In this case, persistence, Cabinet did set the goal of a 2% increase starting again in the 15-16 academic year. And again, we monitor and report this to SAC-COC for all students at EPCC, and then we also break it out by first-time in college students. Again, you can see that we have not met that goal that we have set of a 2% increase, but we do continue to monitor that and to consider ways that we can keep students engaged, keep them focused on their goals. Again, the calling campaign, first-year experience, our former quality enhancement plan, learning about the community as a community, our new quality enhancement plan, Find Your Way, Connect, Discover, Succeed. They're all focused on these efforts of persistence and retention. The third metric of student success that we report to SAC-COC is retention, which we just talked about. This, again, is a 2% goal to mirror that of persistence. And again, we do monitor this not only for all students and for our first-time students. We do also disaggregate this within the key performance indicators within Power BI by gender, ethnicity, full-time, part-time status, but it can be overwhelming. Even though I do enjoy looking at the data, it can be a rabbit hole that we go down, and so we keep it very straightforward for SAC-COC. Overall, and for first time in college. And you can see the trends for the last few academic years. The next metric that we report to SACCOC is graduation rates. And here we set two different goals. One, Dr. Serrata set not too long after he came to the college, and that goal was 5,000 awards annually, and that includes degrees and certificates combined. And you can see that information in the chart on your left. On the right, we dug a little deeper and we looked at Ipeds completion rates. This is an interesting metric because we can look at graduation rates based on a certain period of time. Many community colleges, including EPCC, look at a completion rate within 150% of quote-unquote typical time. So many of our degrees are designed to be completed in 2 years in a perfect world where students have no other outside obligations or commitments. And so 150% time would be a 3-year completion rate. So what that represents on the right are the percentage of students who do complete their award within 3 years. Here, you can see some significant improvements that we have made at the institution over the years. When we first began looking at Ipeds as a metric of interest for graduation, our completion rate was about 6%. And now, through a variety of initiatives and efforts and terrific students, we have that completion rate at 23% for the fall 17 cohort. So that is terrific news. With the Ipeds cohort, we did mirror some of the other success metrics that we've set for other indices, and we did set a 2% increase with each cohort for the Ipeds completion rate. And finally, this one is a whole bunch of numbers. One of the other metrics that we report to SACCOC are the certification and licensure pass rates. And I know that we've discussed this in board meetings repeatedly. Dr. Mitchell and now Dr. Hajar, Dean Meager, they're programs that either require or offer some sort of certification. Our students are incredibly successful in those exams because of the excellent foundation that they've received at EPCC. Across the board, the cabinet decided to go with a 90% pass rate. We didn't want to dive deeply into, well, this exam versus that exam versus this licensure. We thought to make it easy for outside reviewers to interpret our goal, we set at 90%. And you can see we consistently meet or exceed that goal. Our students are terrific, our faculty are terrific, and so we are very proud of these certification and licensure exam rates. So this was a quick and dirty presentation. But we wanted to take this opportunity to familiarize you with what we report specifically to our accrediting body and to give you a snapshot in another way compared to the KPIs, which are very visual, very dense, easy to get lost in. These are tables that are available on the public-facing website that anybody can look at anytime that they're interested. So again, a huge amount of information. I am happy to answer any questions or provide more information about our student success metrics and goals that we've set.
Thank you for the information,
Thank you.
all the hard work. I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see fire tech on your tech certificates.
So you did not. You are correct, sir. We have several different programs, and off the top of my head, I want to say 42 that we offer the licensure or certification, or that our students sit for. I did not include that in this slide. We can certainly pull it and share that with you. But I do know that our Mr. Lujan, are you still here? Do you happen to know off the top of your head? Pop quiz. No. We can easily pull that up for you.
I just noticed that there was no fire tag.
Yeah, do you have maybe some insight as to why the emergency medical technology rate is so low?
Because it's very difficult.
Well, yeah, but so are the others. Sir?
No?
Now,
Oh, there we go, okay. It's one of the more difficult ones. You'll also notice that court reporting is an extremely difficult licensure to pass. And so we're implementing, various strategies, but it is one of those that is challenging for students to pass and become EMTs.
So do we have like support systems in place to address the problem so that they are better equipped to pass the test? 'Cause
Yeah, we're doing everything possible to increase the pass rates on some of these. EMT is one of them.
but it's going down
including-
instead of up.
Yeah, including putting additional tutors in place. But yeah, we're aware of the challenges for that particular program as well.
Is that the same problem with a diesel mechanic?
Diesel's an interesting one. So that, as you can see, we just started a certification in 2019, and the 2020 data was delayed because of the pandemic. I can check to see if it's been posted and is available now. But we had very good success rates in diesel. And in fact, most of the health programs, we have very high success rates.
So who runs the registered nurse?
That would be Dean Meager, who happens to be in the audience.
Why don't we
Dean
put
Meager.
her in charge of the EMTs?
Well, certainly food for thought. Sure.
The
Why,
other
she's
scores are-
98%.
The other scores are very impressive, thank you.
Dr. Penley,
Yes, sir.
quick question. This is maybe for you, maybe for Dr. Serrata too. One of those 30,000-foot type questions on all of this. For the past 10 years, we've been looking at data, and Dr. Serrata comes in and says the path to the middle class is through education. The more you learn, the more you earn. But here recently, there's been an increased sort of emphasis on the certification as opposed to the 4-year degree, and then we had the pandemic. Are we seeing, so just sort of a general feel, are we seeing an attitude change toward higher education? Are we seeing, is it sort of the standard up and downs, or are we seeing just a general attitude, maybe influenced by all the publicity for the high cost of education, like $200 million for a degree at Harvard and that kind of thing?
so Mr. Uxer, I'll begin, and then I'll let Dr. Penley jump in as well. We have seen a shift, and it's been a shift that's been seen across the state and nation. So there's 1 million students fewer at this point in time enrolled in community colleges across the nation. There is over 90,000 students fewer amongst the 50 community colleges in the state of Texas. Higher education as a whole is down over 100,000 students. So even the universities, there are some that are up, but you see a significant number of regional universities that are down in enrollment. That is caused from students going straight into the workforce, into entry-level jobs. What you see is that jobs that used to pay minimum wage because of the labor shortage are now paying $13, $15, $17 an hour. And so those potential students are going straight from high school into the labor force and into, they're going straight into the workforce. I don't begrudge them earning those wages. I'm very happy that they're earning those wages. They're obviously influenced by the national economic scene with regards to inflation. My concern for those students, or those potential students, is that those wages will come down. And if they're not enrolled in higher education,
the likelihood that their wages remain at that level are slim to none. And so I just want them to plan for the future.
Yeah, I think in that same respect, even if they go to that, they have a high starting point, but their advancement potential to expand their horizon, maybe to alternate or enhanced certifications or other degree, are extremely limited,
Yes, sir. There's no doubt. I mean, if you look at Texas grew just under 4 million people from 2010 to 2020. The vast, over 90%, 95% of that growth was individuals that we serve. Primarily, we serve 85+% of our student enrollment is Hispanic. That was by far the highest growth rate amongst the population. It also continues to be amongst the lowest educational attainment level. So I certainly heard Dr. Graham earlier on everyone being a recruiter, and we certainly applaud that. But we're seeing this statewide. It doesn't mean that we're satisfied by any means, and I want to give Dr. Amaya and the whole team lots of credit. Right now, our first time in college enrollment for the fall is at the same level that we were in 2019. It's actually higher than where we were. And that really is the benchmark now, is to look at the fall of 2019, and as we become a post-pandemic society, how do we get back to the fall of 19 data and then begin to add students once again? Dr. Penley, please.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. So, Mr. Uxer, the only other thing that I would add to that is I think it's natural for young people when they complete high school or their GED to say, I've been in school for 12 years or 13 years, and although Dr. Serrata is absolutely right that the world has changed, and anecdotally we might hold on to, well, my parents did it without even a high school diploma or a post-secondary credential. Let me see what I can do. I think that that's just part of a young person's mentality is they're not sure that a post-secondary credential might be worth it. Going out into the workforce, they learn pretty quickly that it's pretty hard to have a nice place to live and a nice car and nice shoes and a phone and all that with what is currently being out there. But I do think that there's been a shift, as Dr. Serrata mentioned, from a traditional 4-year degree to a renewed understanding of the value of certificates, particularly those that lead to high-paying positions. Many of our programs lead to starting wages that are surpassing a traditional 4-year entry level, a bachelor's degree entry level position. So some of that is a communication issue that we can work on. Some of that is a societal issue, pushing students towards 4-year degrees or nothing. And now we're starting to see that pendulum switch to, there are different ways to achieve your dreams, and not all roads necessarily have to lead to a 4-year or a graduate degree.
And trying to reach those people that have been out in the workforce, that went out at 17 or 18, and now they're 21 and have a kid and a family or something like that. I suppose that's part of Dr. Amaya's focus on trying to reach those people, although it seemed like that would be more of a difficult concept to communicate.
Absolutely. It's always, in my world with institutional research, people say, well, how, we'd like to find a way to talk to students who aren't here, either students that have left or students that have never come. And that's always the trick, right, is to find people that are not easily accessible, and how do we do that? We've had some luck in the past, very little, to be honest. The ROI on those kind of surveys is minimal. But absolutely, I mean, just because it didn't work a few years ago doesn't mean it wouldn't work today. So, excellent point.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, 1.9.
Section 1.9, Board of Trustees Business. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding the resolution authorizing the delegation of certain authority to Dr. William Serrata, college president regarding the COVID-19 pandemic.
What does your statistics show?
So Chair Haggerty and members of the board, this is completely a board decision. Unfortunately, as I will report later in the agenda, we've seen a spike in COVID cases. It is still not at the level that we were seeing in December of last year, but we do continue to see an increase in cases, and our metrics are actually headed in the wrong direction right now. We're hopeful that this will level out and then begin to fall once again.
Are you seeing that the hospitalization is longer or shorter, or?
The hospitalization rate has remained low, fortunately, and that's the good news, is the cases continue to rise, but we're seeing hospitalization rates at level.
My question is, do we need to continue the way we've been doing it? Because can you react fast enough? The whole idea is for you to react quickly.
To date, there has not been any concerns with anything in place that the board has. We've been able to move quickly. We've been able to go through purchasing that we've needed to go through. I don't see currently anything that could arise that would require something without board approval.
Do we have a take from any of the other board members? Do you want to continue on with giving Dr. Serrata the power that he has, or do you want to just rescind that, or?
Just keep it the same. I'm sorry? In my opinion, we should just keep it the same right now. That way he can make those decisions. He looks through all the data, he makes sure everything's done correctly, and so far it's worked fine, so let's just keep it the way it is.
So no action.
I agree. So if we agree to keep it the same, it'd be no action, but definitely think we probably need to reevaluate at some point. So soon, things are changing a little bit, so.
My thought is that if it's changing, what would we change it to? You know, let's stay where we are until we have an idea where we want to go if we want to change it.
Ms. Robles, do you have any idea on this?
She doesn't, that's fine. Ready.
Ms. Robles, do you want to leave it the way it is, with Dr. Serrata being able to act quickly on any COVID situation?
Definitely.
Okay, so 1.9.1, no action, take it.
Okay, items 1.9.2, 1.9.3, 1.9.4, 1.9.5, and 1.9.6 will be discussed after executive session.
Ms. Castruita, if I could just interject here very quickly, and that was my initial recommendation, Judge and Dr. Serrata. In light of the presentation that you heard from Mr. Erickson from the Northeast Rotary Club, unless the board has any specific legal questions on the limited license agreement that we prepared, which starts on page 34 of your packet, I would recommend that the board take the item on now. I just wasn't sure if Mr. Erickson was going to bring up any legal issues to the board's attention, and that wasn't the case. So it's the board's prerogative if it chooses to handle the matter now or after executive session. But the limited license agreement is included in the packet for your review.
Go ahead and read 1.9.5.
Item 1.9.5, discussion and action to authorize the president or his designee to execute a limited license agreement between the college and Rotary International District 5520 regarding the installation of certain American flag displays on the Trans Mountain campus.
Move to approve? Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
And then item 1.9.7, discussion and take possible action regarding changing the Board of Trustees meeting dates.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, with regards to this particular item, I have to testify in Austin on the 21st of June. Our meeting is currently scheduled for the 22nd of June. I don't know if I will be able to get back in time. I would ask the board to consider a shift in date, and I leave it to the discretion of the board of when that shift would be whether it be on the 23rd of June, or if you would like to shift to the last week, the last Wednesday of June, which would be the 29th of June.
So the 23rd of June, Belen and I will be out of town, but the 29th would be good.
Same for me, I'm okay with the 29th.
Ms. Robles?
Yes, the 29th.
Okay, do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Motion to have the June Board of Trustee meetings to be held on June the 29th at the regular time of 4:30.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Thank you.
1.10.1, Treasurer.
Section 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report, no action is required. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, always a pleasure to update you on what is occurring at the institution. Ms. Manuela Alejandra Gomez, an EPCC professor of philosophy, was announced as a 2022 Piper Professor of the State of Texas. After receiving and carefully reviewing nominations of top professors submitted by colleges and universities across the state, the Minnie Stevens Piper Foundation awarded 10 professors for their superior teaching and extraordinary academic, scientific, and scholarly achievements and their remarkable dedication to the teaching profession. This is one of the most prestigious statewide awards for teaching excellence in higher education. It is not often this recognition goes to a community college professor. Ms. Gomez, congratulations on your dedication and hard work. Ms. Yasmin Ramirez, an associate professor's debut book, Andale Preta, has just been released. The book is a coming-of-age memoir by a Mexican-American woman who doubles as a love letter to the stern grandmother who raised her. Ms. Ramirez, God bless you. Ms. Ramirez, who teaches English and creative writing at the college, guides students in the classroom, and is an inspiration to aspiring writers. Congratulations, Ms. Ramirez, on this great accomplishment. Angela Lopez, a Valle Verde Early College High School graduate, earned her high school diploma and a degree from EPCC. She continued her studies with the Accelerated Bachelor's Nursing Program at Texas Tech University Health Science Center of El Paso, and at the age of 19, she now works as a nurse at the El Paso Children's Hospital. Angela says she feels grateful to have found a way to study the career she wanted to pursue here at home and provide medical services here in the city where families previously had to travel long distances. Congratulations to Angela on her well-deserved success. EPCC participated in the 2021-22 Junior Achievement Inspire Virtual Career Exploration Fair, where visitors to the website could find plenty of information regarding the college. This virtual fair includes videos with information on our programs of study, news and events, career services, scholarships, and campus life, with over 600 visits and more than 800 views on the videos provided. EPCC's Tejano Empowerment Network Coordinator, Dr. Jose Pacheco, was invited to present at the Region 19 Migrant Education Program Commencement Ceremony for the class of 2022 on Saturday, May 7th at the Starlight Event Center. Presentation was for all graduating seniors of the Migrant Education and McKinney-Vento programs, which support migrant students and those students experiencing homelessness. Approximately 60 graduates were in attendance. Dr. Pacheco discussed Project 10's mentoring program details and elaborated on 10's 5 pillars: brotherhood, college and career readiness, health and wellness, leadership, and identity. These pillars from the events and opportunities for these students to create a network for support and build a community should these students decide to attend EPCC. Dr. Pacheco and other members of the 10's steering committee also hosted an information table at the event to provide additional information about EPCC and 10 to the graduating seniors and their parents and other family members in attendance. Special thanks to Dr. Pacheco, biology instructor, for his leadership and oversight of this program. Professors Shannon Valles and Patricia Islas and Naomi Weissman have secured $25,000 in funding from the El Paso Community Foundation to reopen the annual EPCC school store at the Rio Grande campus. The grant renewal will allow local students in elementary, middle, and high school with the necessary school supplies they need to start their next school year successfully. The school store is scheduled to open Saturday, July 16th. It will showcase the excellent programs and facilities in the J building as students tour their way around the Rio Grande campus. Great job to the Rio Grande faculty and Dean Brian Kirby, who are happy to resume all the fantastic events and programs that benefit our community. I'm happy to share the great news regarding our nursing program, as you heard earlier. Good job, Dr. Penley. The Accreditation Commission for Education and Nursing Board of Commissioners has granted continuing accreditation with no stipulations following a recent site visit in September of 21. So in addition to those high passing rates, the next site visit is scheduled to take place in the fall of 2029. Congratulations to Dean Meager and all of the nursing program faculty and staff that played a key role in such a great accomplishment during such challenging times. Your great work and commitment to the students we serve is much appreciated. Congratulations once again. We held our spring commencement on Friday, May 13th at the Don Haskins Center at UTEP. We had a total of just under 2,100 associate degrees and certificates that were awarded during the two ceremonies, of which 486 were from our early college high schools. I want to congratulate Mr. Marco Lara, our media producer for EPCC TV, on completing his certification here at EPCC. Also, Dr. Yvette Huerta, Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Development, who completed her doctorate this spring. Congratulations to all members of the class of 2022. Since the last board meeting, I participated in over 60 virtual and/or in-person meetings, including 7 Texas Association of Community Colleges meetings. I chaired the TAC quarterly board meeting in Austin. We held a TAC and a CAT officers meeting. I participated in the Community College Finance Steering Committee meeting, co-chaired the Business Advisory Council meeting, presented the TAC recommendations to Mr. Hunt, who chairs the Community College Finance Commission. I participated in the TAC Legislative Leadership meeting and chaired a TAC officers meeting. Attended the American Association of Community Colleges annual conference in New York City, where we celebrated this year's excellence awardees from the college. Attended a Texas 2036 Community College Finance Simulator Tool Advisory Group meeting. I attended the college recognition dinner along with members of the board. Thank you for joining us. Participated in the Future of Work main committee meeting. Interviewed with Dr. Eileen Strempel, the inaugural dean at the UCLA Herb Alpert School of Music, and Dr. Stephen Handel, the senior program officer at the ECMC Foundation, regarding COVID lessons and community college students transitioning to four-year universities. I met with Mr. Richard Dayub and John Martin from Lone Star Title Company to discuss the concept of providing a career path at EPCC to create, instruct, and provide internships for the land title industry. Dr. Smith joined me for that meeting. Met with Mr. Walter Boyle from the FBI and Dr. Smith to discuss the FBI's academia programming. Attended a luncheon for Dr. Heather Wilson, the UTEP president, alongside with Chair Haggerty, Dr. Graham, Mrs. Robles, and Ms. Nahida. Thank you for joining us. Attended the general board meeting for the Workforce Solutions Borderplex. I met with Carrie Turner from Aleutian Quick Connect. I met with Commissioner Keller regarding the Texas Association of Community Colleges recommendations to the Community College Finance Commission. I was able to attend the Regional Advisory Council meeting, and I met with Ms. Maribel Macias, who's currently the Socorro Independent School District Assistant Superintendent, who will be transitioning to serve as the Chief Transformation and Equity Officer at El Paso ISD. And finally, yesterday, met with Mr. Carlos Canales, the CEO for Trancasa, and Dr. Ricardo Solis, the president of South Texas College, joined by Dr. Smith and AVP Primozic, to discuss the potential of opening a truck driving program at the college. With regards to COVID, the 14 days of decreasing cases, we're currently averaging 102 cases per day, which is significantly higher than the prior 2 weeks when we averaged 44 cases per day. and nearly 4 times the prior 2 weeks' daily rate when we were averaging 28 cases. The rolling 7-day average has been a significant concern as it continues to hover above the recommended 5%, and today it stood at 35.05%. The cumulative positivity rate stands at 11.83%, and while it has continued to stay above 10% since January the 14th. While we're seeing a surge in COVID cases, the average number of cases at 102 remains significantly below the 212 case threshold for a community of our size. We currently stand at 81.4% of our population aged 5 or older that is fully vaccinated, and 99.9% of our population that has at least received their first vaccination. So to summarize, we continue to see an increase in the 14 days of COVID cases. The infection rate and the 7-day rolling average continue to stay significantly above the recommended 5% for the last 6 weeks, and the cumulative positivity rate remains above 10%. So my recommendation to the board is that we continue in phase 3 of our return to campus plan, which we have been in since Monday, April the 11th. As a reminder, phase 3 of our return to campus plan has the college operating at 75% capacity with 100% of our staff participating. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed on any recommended changes for your consideration. Chair, that concludes my report. I'm happy to respond to any questions that the board might have.
Yeah, Dr. Serrata,
Yes,
John
sir.
Oxer, one question. Did the community college used to have a driving school?
We did, Mr. Uxer. At one point in time, we had a driving school at the Mission del Paso campus years back, and then we had a partnership with Mesilla Valley, and it just became the equipment that Mesilla Valley provided, the cost of the program. It just did. At that point in time, it was not fruitful for the institution to continue, given the significant increase in demand for truck drivers. As well as the partnership that South Texas developed. So Mr. Canales, he is the CEO for Transcasa Trucking. They run in Mexico and then all the way through the Southwest into Canada. They have several significant agreements with companies from Home Depot to HEB. They run all their trucking. He needs drivers, and he is willing to provide the rigs for the institution. He is willing, at least from what we have learned from the agreement that they have signed with South Texas College, that he is willing to provide those rigs, and and also provide an instructor. Now, obviously, the college would pick up the tab for that, but if they're not requiring that any of the graduates go work for his company. If they choose to work for his company, great, but these potential drivers have such an opportunity in today's economy to be able to go into significant waged positions.
Well, I'm sure that if we were to enter something like this, you would use the lessons learned from the prior programs to make sure that we didn't, say, run to those kinds of situations in any new program.
That's correct, Mr. Uxer. We would absolutely use those lessons learned, and part of it is having state-of-the-art rigs that his company would provide. So the equipment would be there. In addition, we will continue to study, and we'll have Mr. Gallardo look at the potential contract and let us know. And then we obviously would bring it to the Board of Trustees for ultimate approval. But we will continue to explore this opportunity for our community in particular.
Yeah, and if we do, just have the guys learn to be diesel mechanics on the side. That way they can do it all at one step.
So that is actually a great suggestion. I know Judge Haggerty was leaning in that direction. We also obviously will be able to repair those vehicles that he would lend us, because we have the Transportation Training Center that we have that ability to do as well. And South Texas is in a similar agreement.
Any other questions for Dr. Strong?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you had indicated that you had a TAC legislative meeting. Are you able to give a quick synopsis in terms of some of the highlights and what to expect this next legislative session?
Sure, yes, ma'am. So what the legislative committee currently, all of TAC actually, is focused completely on the recommendations. And it's a great point, Ms. Sanchez. So the recommendations to the Community College Finance Commission, and so this is what I'll be testifying in front of the commission on the 21st of June. And so the Community College Finance Commission has broken up into 3 work groups: college operations, workforce education, and student supports. So the first challenge was we have 48 members of TAC now, and so we began with the executive committee, and we were able to get all of the executive committee in unanimity behind the recommendations that we put forward. Then we took these to the legislative committee. Again, we were able to get the legislative committee to unanimously support. And then finally, in April, we took it to the full 48 members. And again, was very pleased to see that we were able to get unanimous support. Since that, we have then presented to the trustees organizations, which I know Ms. Nahida is a member of, and their board was able to approve those. And finally, we took it to the Community College Faculty Association, and we were able to get their support. So we will go forward and take these, and I'll give you examples. So here's an example of our recommendations under college operations. Establish a predictable funding structure, consider higher education price index, and fully fund the rate-based formulas for contact hours, for academic and workforce education contact hours and student success points. This funding should include new annual dollars for growth opportunities across the state. The second one under college operations is create a funding model that encourages and supports community colleges to participate in shared services while expanding workforce and educational opportunities for all regions and populations across the state. We have, and I'll provide these to the board, Ms. Sanchez. Workforce education, we have 3 recommendations, and I'll give you an example. Incentivize credentials, including high-demand micro-credentials such as career and technical education, continuing education, and dual credit within the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board accountability system and funded through the state formula. And then we have 3 recommendations under student supports. An example of those recommendations are provide supplemental state funding to address variance in costs of instruction and wraparound services for key student populations such as economically disadvantaged students, students of color, academically underprepared students, adult learners, adult education and literacy, and students with disabilities. Those are examples of what we've been working on. This has been the focus of the association from the executive committee through legislative committee, is to really get everyone behind these recommendations. I'm now I met with Mr. Hunt and presented these as the chair of the committee. I met with Commissioner Keller to present these. We have 4 college presidents that are a part of the group, so they obviously know them already. I will still make time to meet with Chancellor Head. He leads Lone Star College. Lone Star chose to leave the association. I did meet with Chancellor Head while we were in New York for the national conference. He already had a copy of our recommendations, but he says he's leading the college operations group. He feels that our recommendations are very much in line with where his committee will go. We will then meet Dr. Kays, who is on the commission. Dr. Kays is the vice chair of the association. She met with Representative Van Dever. We're setting times to meet with Chairman Creighton from the Senate, Chairman Taylor from the Senate, and then Representative Longoria. So when I go and testify in front of them, it will not be the first time that they hear of our recommendations. Really trying to garner as much support as we can as we move forward. But this has been the focus of the association, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you.
Yes,
For the
ma'am.
next board meeting, so
Yes,
that'll be a week after you've already presented, can we have an item on
Absolutely.
the agenda to post so that we can get a nice, good overview?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know more about that. This is the first time I'm hearing about some of these issues, and so I'd like to just be more informed, and I'm sure the public would as
Yes, ma'am,
as well.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to recommend that you might want to also communicate and make contact with the Texas Association of Community College Trustees. You know, our own Bonnie is a member of that, and believe it or not, we do get some very positive response being that all the trustees are elected, and so as a result, they have a constituency. And so
Absolutely.
I would
Duly noted from both members of the board. We will make sure that it's an agenda item on the next board meeting, Ms. Sanchez, and I will present those to the board in public session so that the community can know them as well. And Mrs. Robles, you're absolutely correct. Elected officials tend to listen to other elected officials, so we certainly appreciate that sage guidance.
And to give Dr. Serrata credit, Ms. Robles, they did present to us as the TAC board, and we did approve to support their endeavors, because it is, I mean, they've done a fantastic job. So we did approve it, and we are supportive of him.
Now we need you to contact our elected officials. That's what's also, by this time, we would have met with our elected officials, but we now have them. We'll go and present them to the commission on the 21st of June, and then we will schedule time with each of our elected officials and seek their support on these as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Chair Haggerty, one other question, actually for Dr. Serrata. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up, but just a question. Given the terrible events yesterday in Uvalde and then earlier at Santa Fe High School, are you happy with the current state of the policies to address those kinds of events at community college? And more importantly, the training that we have here, is this, I think it would be good to at least review what we have and to be satisfied that we're as prepared as we could be.
It's a great point, Mr. Exer. I mean, my heart breaks for the families of Uvalde.
By the way, that's pretty close to your home area, isn't it?
Not as close. Texas is big. And my home area is El Paso, by the way, so it's about 500 miles, it's about 500 miles away from
That was
us.
the test.
But my family is in further South Texas. It's heartbreaking, Mr. Uxer. So we follow all of the laws that are in place, that are passed by our elected officials, that are signed into law by the governor, lieutenant governor, and speaker of the House. We do have, I'm trying to see if I see Dr. Mitchell in the audience. I do see Dr. Mitchell in the audience. We do have a behavioral intervention team. We do have, we were actually moving rather quickly with all of these different initiatives pre-pandemic. Obviously, the pandemic placed a burden on the staff, the faculty and staff at the institution, but we have re-begun all of those particular areas. We've continued with trainings. I don't know if you ever have a sufficient amount of training. We're fortunate to have a police force. I see them in the audience here that protect us on a daily basis. We will continue to work hard to ensure that we provide the safest environment for our faculty, staff, and students.
Fair enough.
Okay. No more questions.
Okay.
One more time? No more questions?
1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
Okay, you have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 2, Administration, item 2.1, the following 24 TASB legal policies, CAD, CAIA, CDDA, CH, CIA, CJ, CKE, CM, CS, DC, DGC, DHA, DHB, DHC, EBB, ECC, EDA, EFA, EFBB, FC, FLA, GCA, GD, and GH are presented for information only. Section 3, Personnel. Item 3.1 will be discussed after executive
Gotta
session.
move that item to after executive session, please.
Yes, sir. Section 4, Financial Services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the approval to purchase equipment and services from AV Concepts and Security LLC for the upgrade of projectors in 140 technology-enhanced classrooms for the proper delivery of hybrid and face-to-face instruction in an amount not to exceed $342,470.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.2, discussion and action on the approval to award a contract to provide professional auctioneer services for the disposition of surplus, unserviceable, and obsolete district property to Larry Odin Auctioneers LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 5, physical facilities. Discussion and action on the approval to award a contract to Full Term Interior Solutions LLC to furnish the 4 student study areas at the Valle Verde campus, Building A, in an amount not to exceed $76,927.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 5.2, discussion and action on the approval of expenditures with various vendors to purchase building materials, supplies, and/or services as needed for the district for fiscal years 2021 to 2022 and 2022 to 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
She has a question.
Hi, Ms. Shaughnessy. So on this particular item, this is not, we're not talking about entering into a co-op agreement or Region 19 contract. What we're talking about, is it a rotating list of vendors that we would go to? Yeah. And my
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and so my question is, I noticed that it says to purchase building materials, supplies. So I know that there's been an increase in costs for certain building materials. How have you seen a change, or can you comment in terms of how that would then affect maybe going to a particular vendor on that list? If you could just comment a little bit about just the pricing that you've seen and how we're going to approach that.
And maybe Mr. Lobato is the best person to
Okay.
respond to that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, that is a very good question. Yes, as we all know, the pandemic has affected construction material costs and delivery times for everything. In some cases, I have made adjustments up on some of the requests from last year. In others, I have not, only because we've increased the number of vendors that we have the opportunity to go to. So that kind of just spreads it out.
So is that the solution then, I guess, is increasing the, I guess, various vendors that would then be on this list so that there would be more of a ability to price?
The ability to switch and go to others if we need it. If we reach the top expenditure on one, I can always jump to the next.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval to purchase an anatomage table from Anatomage, Inc. in the amount of $83,525.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have any discussion? I have one question. What is that? She couldn't pronounce it. What is it?
I've seen it.
Chair Haggerty, this is an amazing piece of technology. It's basically a table that shows the human anatomy and its anatomage
Thank you.
in various formats. So you don't have to actually dissect anything. It's shown to you visually, and at the touch of a button, you can change the way the body is being dissected. We look forward to installing this and inviting you all out to check out the advanced technology that at the
As long as
Rio
you
Grande
don't put me
campus.
on the table first. Any other discussion? Call a question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham. Oh, Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the approval of a contract award to Medline Industries LP to provide course-specific supplies to nursing students.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.3, discussion and action on the approval of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, THECB, Carl D. Perkins Basic Grant in the amount of $148,662.
Move to approve 6.3, 6.4, and 6.5.
Second, and these are fantastic.
Item 6.4, discussion and action on the approval of a grant from the City of El Paso in the amount of $37,000. Item 6.5, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the DJR Trust Foundation for the Kids and Coaches Program in the amount of $10,000.
I'm sure Dr. Smith would want to recognize the individuals.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. Yeah, the Carl Perkins grant is an extension. They do mid-year allocations, so appreciate all the work from the grants office on that. It's not unusual for us to get a mid-year allocation, and the money is very welcome. Dr. Mitchell, as Dr. Serrata said, is in the audience, so I'd like to recognize her as part of the Northwest Campus Library. That's a partnership with the city, an ongoing partnership with the city that she oversees along with the head librarian, Miss Laura Lee Ambrise at the Northwest Campus. And finally, I'd like to recognize Chris Kazanjian. Dr. Kazanjian received the Rather Prize that is going to allow us to implement the Kids and Coaches program here at the Rio Grande campus. And I know Dean Kirby, who oversees that area, is here as well. So thank you, Dean Kirby, for the great work.
Can we take them to lunch or anything for getting all these grants?
I think we have a grant minimum that they need to achieve. No, I'm kidding. That's a great idea. We should recognize the hard
We
work of all of
should,
these
yeah.
folks, absolutely.
Well, on behalf of the board, tell them we appreciate all our work.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of a contract.
No action needed.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
on 6.3 all the way to 6.5, you have a motion, a second, we just need a
Sorry.
note the vote.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
You got it.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. On 7.1, there's no action.
7.1, discussion and action on the approval of a contract award to Mike Garcia Merchant Security LLC for providing private security guard services on an as-needed basis at various locations within the EPCC district in an amount not to exceed cumulative total for 3 years, $508,000.
No action.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve 7.2 and 7.3.
Second. Any questions? Call a question.
I'll read 7.3. 7.3, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses. Okay. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nahida?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Section 8, Community Services, there are none.
I want to do executive session.
Executive session, yes, sir. The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security, personnel, or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on the agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding certain real property neighboring the Rio Grande campus pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding certain real property adjacent to the Mission del Paso campus pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding prevailing wage rates for college public works pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.4, discussion with legal counsel regarding the college preliminary offsite report pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.5, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quiñones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Arriola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.6, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Victor Perez versus El Paso County Community College District in the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2020 DCV 1105, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.7, discussion with legal counsel regarding proposed incentive payments to eligible employees pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. The time is now 5:55.
We're back from executive session. We need to call 1.3.1.
1.9.2, sir.
No, 1.3.1.
Well, yeah. 1.9.
No, 1.3.1.
Yeah.
That's the executive,
That's the
Oh, is it
executive
different?
session.
Is it-
It's
is
under
that
our Board
what
of
it
Trustees
is?
business. Don't scare me.
It would be item
1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quiñones versus El Paso County Community
Such a long
College
name to
District
do.
and Hector Arriola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171.
No action.
No action taken.
Item 1.9.3, discussion and take possible action regarding pending litigation styled Victor Perez versus El Paso County Community College District in the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas. Cause number 2020 DCV 1105.
That one's no action also, correct? No action needed.
Item 1.9.4, discussion and take possible action regarding proposed incentive payments to eligible employees.
Okay. Proposed board resolution regarding employee incentive payments, EPCC Board of Trustees meeting May 25th, 2022. The El Paso County Community College District Board of Trustees recognizes the City of El Paso County, and the College District that have been and continue to be negatively impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. The Board of Trustees also recognizes the effects of COVID-19 have been substantial, unforeseen, and unavoidable. The World Health Organization and U.S. Centers for Disease Control declared COVID-19 a worldwide pandemic and additional emergency measures may continue. The Board of Trustees finds that a substantial public purpose exists in protecting the health and safety of its students, staff, and community, and therefore it desires to ensure that the college district and community are always prepared to the fullest extent possible to protect the health and safety of students, staff, and the community in light of the continued presence and effects of COVID-19. The Board of Trustees finds a substantial public purpose to also exist in retaining its employees, reducing turnover, increasing morale, helping alleviate the economic burden caused by the pandemic, and thereby facilitating the full return of all employees to normal operations in the foreseeable future and encouraging employees to focus on work-related matters while at work. The Board of Trustees finds that the aforementioned public purposes are fulfilled by awarding prospective payments to eligible employees in furtherance of employee retention and morale during this historically challenging time, and as an incentive for continued teamwork and dedication of college district employees as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact our situation and its employees. So EPCC Board of Trustees proposed motion regarding incentive payments. I move to approve prospective incentive payments to the eligible employees for the reasons stated in the board's resolution of this date in the amounts of $1,000 for part-time employees and $2,500 for full-time employees, and to authorize the administration to administer these payments consistent with applicable law and policy.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Motion carries, ayes. Okay, next one is.
Item 1.9.6, discussion and take possible action regarding prevailing wage rates for college public works pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code.
No action taken. We already did 1.9.7. Okay, I still need you to read 1.3.1.
We have 3.1 under personnel, sir.
Okay.
Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty
in charge.
recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
I hear a motion.
Motion to approve?
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Now can we go to 1.3.1? No? What else you got?
Adjournment, sir?
We had, you said we had to.
It's an item for executive session, Judge, what you're reading, 1.3.1.
Yeah, so we don't have it, no action taken on them.
No.
I asked you, you said, yeah, we had to do it action.
No, there's no action on those. They're
Okay,
part of the
so
agenda.
next board meeting is on the 29th. You messed me up completely, but that's okay.
Wait, but are you sure we can't read 1.3.1?
Please.
I don't know why I'm arguing with a woman. I already should know, I'm old enough to know better.
I
Okay,
said no.
our next board meeting will be next month on the 29th. Do I have a motion for adjourn?
So made.
So made, okay. Yeah, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? See you next month.
Thank you.
Way to keep me in line there, young.
I'm taking back the cake, sir, please.